Hey everyone, Zenith here, and I want to talk about TradeSkillMaster or TSM and the application. How do we use it? What are some of the basic functions that I can use as a beginner player to help me in the game of World of Warcraft? So, let's talk about the application itself. TSM, if we go into Twitch, there's two parts of the application you want to download. TradeSkillMaster and TradeSkillMaster App Helper. These are the two applications you want to get. This is the in-game one, and this one is one that goes onto your desktop or that is utilized from an application on your desktop. So you'll need to go to their website at TradeSkillMaster.com, and you'll need to download that application. And what that application does is it runs in the background on your computer, and you can choose in the settings, you can set up what realms you want, you have to log in, everything like that, but it'll constantly update the auction house values of your server, so that what you see in the game is going to be current, so that you don't have to go to the auction house, sit there and have it update all the information. It's constantly running that information in the background, so that when you're in the game, for example, you pull up your bags, you want to look at a piece of gear that you got, you can see at the bottom section the values of that gear. The current buyout value on your auction house for this one is 743 gold. And those are really great because when you are farming, for example, materials, like you say you've got Siren's Pollen here, you can see, oh, this sells for 24 gold a pop. You can kind of keep an eye on that value. Sometimes it drops, sometimes it goes up. You can sell when it's high, you can buy when it's low. All those kinds of factors really help. Also, when you get gear and you want to know, should I vendor this? Is it worth better just to vendor it, or will I sell it for more on the auction house? You can also see towards the bottom what these region's sale rate is, how often it sells. The higher that number is, the more often that item sells. So you can see, for example, this random belt sells 0.07 on a daily average, versus when we're looking at, for example, daily average of Riverbud, that sells 8,395.30. So this is clearly selling often, whereas that belt doesn't sell very often. So whether it's worth listing or not, you can get an idea of that value. So that's one of the things that's great. And the second thing that's great is when you go into the auction house and you want to sell items. So for example, let's just choose a couple items. I'm going to sell a couple of these things that probably won't sell, but I'm just going to show you how it works. So you go to post selected, you checkbox the items you want to sell. This is under the auctioning section. And it'll scan the auction house and say, hey, we can list these at what the normal price is, which for this one is expensive. It's probably not going to sell, but you never know. And then you can see it'll also undercut your current competition. And so these are three things. And guess what? All it takes is clicking post, 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 post. All those things are posted. I didn't have to go into the auction house, type it all in manually, look it up. It all does it for me. And that's super convenient for listing items quickly on the auction house. So two great aspects of that. There's a lot more detail of TSM that you can get into, but I just wanted for beginner players to give you an idea of why that tool is beneficial and some of the quick conveniences that it can offer. So hopefully that helps, and best of luck.